Hey everybody, it's Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. Welcome to my channel today. I've got a video all about why cruisers might not want to go sailing even after sailing will be allowed to start again in the US. Thanks everybody for subscribing to my channel, giving my videos thumbs ups, and thank you for joining my Facebook group page and becoming sponsor members of this channel. Man, I love you guys. Let's talk about the possibilities here. The cruise lines are making a big push right now to start sailing again. They've come up with their own, health protocol, suggestion, guidelines, rules. CLIA, the Cruise Line International Association, CLIA, they're making a big push to try to make it look as official as possible to the public that these are the new rules for cruising going forward. The question is, of course, will the CDC buy into it? If they do, then maybe cruise ships will start sailing sooner rather than later, but we'll see. Anyway, what would cause cruise fans like myself, cruise addicts, not to want to go? Why would we choose not to start sailing even if we could? What would hold us back? And I've got a bunch of reasons here. Let's get into them. The number one reason is I'm not wearing a mask. No way. There are people out there who just refuse to do this. We're reading stories every week, hearing about people getting kicked off of airplanes, and they wear the mask in the departure gate area, and then they get on the plane, take the mask off, or they take the mask off 20 minutes into the flight and refuse to put it back on. There are people out there who just aren't going to go with it, and that may cause a bunch of folks to say, you know what, these new rules that the cruise lines are bringing out, I'm just not interested. I don't want to do it. The other one is they don't trust airports. They don't trust airports to get the virus. They don't trust getting on a plane to catch the virus. They don't trust a taxi between the airport and the cruise ship, or their hotel for the night before they go on a cruise. They don't trust the hotel. They don't trust the buses that are being offered to them for complimentary rides to and from the ship. They're worried about getting ill before they even get there. And the other one is this testing thing. People are it all depends on how intrusive the test is, I guess. Obviously, with time, the hope is that something as simple as a saliva test will do. But there are a lot of people out there who feel like they're being accused of creating a crime, that they're a criminal. They don't like to be felt like that. They're people who are trying to go on a holiday at their expense, and it isn't cheap to do it, and they're being treated like they're a leper, something like that. Not a good feeling, and they're not impressed. And if it's testing after testing after testing, I think people are going to get pretty sick and tired of this whole routine, to the point where they're just going to say, the heck with this. I'm not going to go cruising. I'm not going to go traveling because I just don't like the hassle. They don't trust fellow passengers that are actually sick and haven't told anyone, or are trying to hide it, or they're going to break the rules once they're on board these ships. You get people who they say, oh yeah, I'll follow the rules, and then as soon as they get on board, they completely change their personality. They become belligerent, uncooperative. Or what happens, of course, is they're on the ship and everyone's having a great time and everyone's following the rules, and the drinks are flowing, and after the third drink, some people are now out of control, and they're just being animals without adhering to any rules. And if they are asymptomatic carriers and they are taking off their masks and jumping up and down and yelling and screaming because the alcohol has just taken them to another place, how many people could get infected? And this is where, fellow travelers don't trust fellow travelers. The other one that I wonder about is once we're on board ships, there might be folks out there who are going to say, these rules that they came up with to protect everyone, these new COVID rules, they sounded pretty good, but now that we're on board the ships, they're far too extreme, and they're way over the top, and it's just not a fun experience. Or it's not stringent enough. They're too lackadaisical. Once the cruise line is in international waters, they have no enforcement policies, and they don't care if people break the rules. You're going to get folks who are, one way or the other. They're going to hear about cruises. They're going to wait it out before they start cruising, and then they find out from YouTubers and other people that, oh yeah, the cruise I was on, as soon as we left Miami and we were in international waters, it was a free-for-all, and is it any wonder people don't, is it any wonder why people aren't spreading it between each other? That could be one of the other turnoffs for people to not want to go cruising. Another reason why they might not go cruising after the lockdown is over is that they don't have a cruise credit, and they're thinking of going on a cruise, and they take a look at the pricing that's being offered now, and all of a sudden they're going, oh my God, it's way more expensive than it used to be. This is insane. The fare might be a deal, but these daily charges have really risen, or the drinks are $3 a piece more now, or especially restaurants, are double the price. I mean, there might be some shocking pricing surprises coming up, because cruise lines, after all, don't forget, they have borrowed billions of dollars to stay alive while they've been waiting for us to come back, and now they've got to pay back those bankers, and they didn't get interest. They didn't get interest rates of 4 and 5%. They were getting interest rates of 12 to 15% on these billions of dollars, and they've got to generate cash to pay off these debts for years and years to come. We'll have to see. A lot of folks are going to probably hear about these new rules, the new ways the cruises are being conducted, and they're going to come to the conclusion that it isn't the old cruise anymore. It's not the way it used to be, and it's just not for me. I'm not gonna entertain paying top dollar to do something that just doesn't sound enjoyable, and I miss the old ways of cruising. The other one is another reason why people might not go cruising in the future. They're worrying about the fact that they might become a quarantine victim. And what I mean by that is they're not sick. Their wife or husband is not sick. Their family members, they're all fine. None of them are sick. But there are people on board the ship who caught the virus. And for whatever reason, the home port that they're returning to has changed the rules while they were at sea. And by the time they get back to be going home, go back home, they can't get off the ship because the cruise port has changed its mind about the quarantine process, and everyone is stuck on board for 2 weeks, like it or not. No one gets off the ship. The ship has to stay 5-10 miles offshore, and you're all locked in your cabin on a lockdown. And I think there are a lot of folks out there who are secretly thinking, yeah, they're going to announce the resumption of cruises, and just my luck, I'm in the 4th, 5th week of the resumption of cruising, and there's a bunch of outbreaks happening all over the place, and all of a sudden my ship is on a complete quarantine lockdown, just like they had it back in January, February with the Pacific Princess. I don't want to be caught in that trap. I don't care that I have a balcony room. I just don't want to be stuck on a cruise ship for 2 whole weeks, because one, I got to get back to work, or I have people looking after my kids. I've got obligations here, expenses that I'm going to run into. I'm going to lose my flights, and on and on and on it goes. Yeah, I can see why people would not want to go cruising if they're worried about this kind of a scenario sneaking up on them at the end. The last one I'll mention about is cruisers might not go ahead and cruise for a while, because they're afraid that the cruise they booked is not the cruise they're going to get. They booked a cruise with a specific, maybe private island in mind. Maybe they want to go to Perfect Day Coco Key. They wanted to check out, St. Kitts, or they wanted to be in St. Thomas, or they wanted to be in St. Martin, or they wanted to be in Mexico or an Alaska cruise. And the cruise they end up getting is completely different, because ports of call that they thought they were going to, that they had intended to go to, now won't let cruise ships in again. Another complete change of pace. This is the inconsistency thing is what we're going to have to watch for. A lot of people might hold off and say, I'm not going to cruise until things really, really settle down long term. It's just too scary right now. It's just too unsettled, and I don't want to go on a pay a bunch of money for a cruise that isn't really happening, and now I'm doing a completely different itinerary. It's not what I paid for. We'll watch it. We'll see what happens. These are some of the reasons why people might not start cruising right away after the shutdown is over. We'll see how it all works out. Thank you again, everybody, for subscribing to my channel. Give my videos thumbs ups. Love your comments. Please consider becoming a sponsor member of the channel. We'll talk to you later, everybody. Take care now. Bye for now.